Thanks, Chad. I appreciate the opportunity to make a brief statement, and good afternoon to everyone. Before I get into my prepared remarks, I wanted to first acknowledge what's happening in our community and the amount of suffering and what people have been through during this past year. And everybody knows that even over this weekend, we had a record amount of positive tests, and so many people have lost loved ones and friends and are just struggling economically with their jobs and everything else. And I just want to make sure that I convey all my support to all of them. I'd also like to acknowledge the healthcare professionals in our community and for what they're doing. And I know that they are exhausted and go to work every day to try to save lives and make a difference. And from the bottom of my heart and from the university, we really want to convey our appreciation for what they do. I'd also like to acknowledge the governor, and most of you, if not all of you, probably had the opportunity to watch his press conference, and I really want to compliment him on his leadership in probably one of the most difficult times in Nevada history, and thank him for that, and want to wish him well as he recovers from COVID. I will say that we understand that we are very fortunate to be playing football at this time, given the situation that we're in, that this community's in, and that the state is in. We've seen across the country and in our own conference the amount of cancellations that have occurred associated with the COVID epidemic. And with that in mind is the purpose for why I wish to have the opportunity to participate in this press conference today. During our victory yesterday, which was a massive victory for our program over San Diego State, members of our coaching staff, including Coach Norvell, were seen not wearing facial coverings during certain points in the game. There was also a video after the game in the locker room where some of our players and coaches were seen celebrating without wearing facial coverings. Following the game, I spoke with Governor Sisolak, and as president of the university, I expressed our commitment and reassurance to complying with and fulfilling all of the state of Nevada's COVID-19 public safety initiatives. As an institution of higher learning for the state, we must always adhere to public health guidelines from Washoe County and the state. Because of this, we need to set the best example at all times as we fight this pandemic. This is absolutely a teachable moment for the university. So on behalf of the entire university, I wish to apologize for the lapses that occurred during Saturday's game. Our players, support staff, and coaches have done an admirable job week in and week out of adhering to strict weekly testing and health protocols to ensure they can take the field each week. However, it's clear that these testing regimens can also lead to a false sense of security as we've returned to competition. In the wake of Saturday's victory, Athletic Director Doug Newt talked to Coach Norvell and stressed the importance of why we can and must do better. Coach Norvell has expressed his remorse, and Coach, I want to thank you for the opportunity to chat with you over the weekend. He has vowed to redouble his efforts and the efforts of the Wolfpack football coaching staff and the players to ensure the health and well-being of all individuals associated with our football program are taken care of. Later this week and into the following week, Coach Norvell and our team will be engaging with healthcare professionals and health organizations from our medical community in a variety of ways. The intent will be to learn more about the heroic work that I just talked about happening right now on the front lines of COVID. We appreciate the willingness of Renown Health and our own School of Medicine for their enthusiastic response in educating us and in taking the time to share their work with our players and our coaches. This is the work that is literally saving lives in the face of an unprecedented and dangerous pandemic. We will and we must seize the leadership opportunities that exist as we continue to fight the spread of this virus in our communities. The University of Nevada, Reno and its athletic programs pledge to be at the forefront of these efforts. We have the opportunity to control our own destiny and not let destiny control us. So with that, Chad, I appreciate the opportunity to address this group. I'll turn it over to Athletic Director Newth.
Thank you, President Sandoval. I'll be brief, and I want to turn time over to Coach Norvell in a second, but I do want to acknowledge Governor Sisolak and President Sandoval for a really strong reminder that we can't lower our standards at this time. Our team has done a remarkable job, and under Jay Norvell's leadership, done a great job all through the summer and all through the fall. But here's a great reminder for us that we can't let our guard down against this virus. We've got to do a great job. And as President Sandoval mentioned, we're going to work with our very close friends here at the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. We're going to work very closely with our friends at Renown to do some more education, to learn more about the virus, to learn more about how we can help amplify their message and the governor's message for all of our community to be safe and to look out for each other and to make sure we're all being safe and to help end this virus as quickly as we can. So thank you again, President Sandoval. Thank you, Governor Sisolak. We appreciate your leadership. We appreciate your support very much. And I'll turn the time over now to Coach Norvell. And I want to thank and congratulate Coach Norvell too on a great game, and look forward to a great game this week too.
Thanks, President Sandoval. Thank you, Doug. As President Sandoval just said, this is a teachable moment. I want everyone to know that I take this matter very seriously. As many of you know, my wife has a serious lung disease called cystic fibrosis. And many of these protocols, I've been doing them for years. I just didn't start when this pandemic started. So I take this very serious personally. There were lapses during the game on Saturday, and I want to apologize for that on behalf of our players, coaches, our program, and our university. This is a stark reminder that rigorous testing protocols are not vaccine. Even with all the great work our players, coaches, and support staff have done week in and week out, staying healthy by adhering to the public health protocols we've been following, we must always do more. That the clear directives from the medical professionals, washing our hands, practicing social distancing, and wearing a facial covering in public at all times is required by all of us as we continue to fight this pandemic. There is no denying that people pay great attention to the Wolfpack and Wolfpack football. Going forward, we want our players to continue to set the best possible example. We will make sure that as coaches and our coaching staff, we are doing all we can at all times to ensure the health and well-being of our players, support staff, coaches, and all the members of our community. As President Sandoval just said, it is important that we seize this leadership opportunity that is presented to us. This is a moment where we can do that by acknowledging that we can help stop the spread by modeling the appropriate actions and behaviors that are needed right now. I want you all to know that it's my pledge today that we will be at the forefront of these efforts. So I appreciate Doug and I appreciate President Sandoval for being here today and helping us put that message forward.
Thank you. And with that, there will be an opportunity for questions later with Coach Norvell, but I would like to shift focus now as we do move forward to this week's football game at Hawaii, to give the floor back to Coach Norvell for a statement about last week's win and a look ahead at this week's game.
No, I just reviewing the game, I was really amazed. It's been an incredible effort by everybody in our entire program. And for us to play the type of game we needed to play Saturday with a lot of the limitations and restrictions we have to even meet and prepare and practice, it was an incredible effort by everybody in our program, our medical staff, our coaches, our players. And, we laid a plan out to our team, and it was just so satisfying to see them execute what we needed to do in that game. It was a complete and total team effort. I thought we were outstanding in special teams. The yardage that our coverage teams held them down to And our return game with Romeo Dubs was really an amazing edge in the game for us. We wanted to ball control. Carson was able to do that with ball control passing, and our offensive line was outstanding. And of course, Romeo and our receivers did a tremendous job. And what can I say about our defense? I just was so proud of how we responded the second half. I told the defense on Friday night, these guys have good backs, but, good backs are all the same. If there ain't no hole to run in, there's nowhere for them to go. And our guys, Don Peterson, Sam Hammond, Cam Toomer, Zach Mahana, did an amazing job in the second half of closing those holes up and giving those backs nowhere to run. And then I just got to acknowledge our pass rush. Our pass rush really hemmed in that quarterback. And even in that very last drive, it was our pass rush that kept that quarterback from getting the ball in the end zone. So, and I'd like to just also recognize the efforts of Mikhail Bradford. What an amazing job he did. Walk-on cornerback, played the entire second half, played the most he's ever played in a big game versus a mature football team. And so very, very proud of our coaches, very proud of our players and entire staff for the effort. You don't win that game in a day or two. That's a culmination of a lot of hard work over a long period of time. So we're on to Hawaii. The challenges continue to come. We've got to travel to Hawaii this week, play a couple hours later, 6 o'clock Hawaii time, which will be 8 o'clock our time. This is a very dynamic team. I worked with Todd Graham at Arizona State. I know him very well. He'll have his team prepared. They have a lot of dynamic players. They pressure on defense. They do a lot of unusual things offensively, and we're going to have to be on top of our game. And this is a team that we did not play well against a year ago. And, we were embarrassed by our performance, to say the least. And so we've been looking forward to this game for quite some time. So looking forward to the next challenge of the week. They continue to come. And this team has, shown a lot of maturity in handling the different challenges of the season. So we're looking forward to this one.
And with that, we will open up to questions for Coach Norvell.
Jay, there's always inherent challenges with this trip to the islands. I wonder how different this one, at least what you know from now, is going to be, and how you guys are prepping for it, and what this week looks like for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, it's always a challenge to travel over there. It's not an easy trip, and we're going to leave on Thursday on Thanksgiving, and our preparation will be fairly similar to what we've been doing. A couple years ago, we practiced at night to get used to the time change. We're not able to do that because of the testing we have to do. So it's just, there's a lot of things that affect everything we do. Everything we do is different. And so this is just another example of that. So we'll practice at our normal time, and we'll be ready. Our guys are looking forward to this challenge. They have a dynamic team with dynamic players. They have an athletic quarterback. They have a very athletic and pressure-packed defense. They're going to try to blitz and really change the launch point for Carson. And so we're going to have to kind of handle a little bit of different scheme than we've seen the last couple of weeks. So, but it's always a little bit different. You got to get your body clock adjusted going to Hawaii. It'll be warm there. We had the scouting report from Timmy Chang today, so he said it was going to be close to 80 and about 70% humidity. So that's a little bit different than what we're practicing in right now. So we'll have to prepare for that as well.
Coach, as you mentioned, you were with Todd Graham for a year at Arizona State. What would you describe your guys' relationship as? And, that was a job you had before you came to Nevada. What did that time with him mean to your career, I guess?
No, Coach Graham's a real experienced head coach. He's led several different programs and really does an amazing job rebuilding and fundraising. He's built incredible facilities every place he's been. But I really enjoyed my time with Coach Graham and the coaches there at ASU. Just a really aggressive coach. Really loves to blitz and pressure on defense. He calls the defenses. He makes no bones about it. He wants to try to hit your quarterback and get him rattled. And so we're going to have to do a great job of protecting Carson and making sure that he's not pressured in the pocket. But he's a very innovative guy offensively. He's had some really great offensive coaches, Gus Malzahn coached for Todd Graham and Mike Norvell. There's a lot of guys that worked for him. And he's very innovative offensively as well. So, just a really good football coach. He's also a friend of mine, and we talk ball fairly often. And so it'll be a big challenge going against Todd.
Did you pick up some tips from him on coaching style or traditions? Like, for instance, that 100-yard walk, was that something you picked up from him at Arizona State?
Actually, that's right. We do our Wolfpack walk. That was something that Todd Graham has been doing for years, and they did that at Arizona State. And I thought it was perfect to take that and bring that here to Nevada and incorporate our alumni and boosters. But yeah, that was one of Coach Graham's traditions. And Coach Graham was a high school coach and also been a head coach at several different universities. And he's left his mark everywhere he's been, and had a bunch of great assistants that have worked for him. And so I think everybody's learned a little bit from Coach Graham that's worked for him.
Is there anything else you learned from him or picked up from him? Any other traditions?
He's got a very specific philosophy of offense as well as defense. He loves to run the football. He loves to play with tempo and speed. He loves to run the quarterback and the zone read. And he was doing that back at Allen High School in Texas. He's really, he's got quite a legacy, and he really loves kind of dynamic styles of the game, and so it was awfully fun coaching with him. Learned a lot and enjoyed my time with him.
You referenced last year's game. What have you said to your team about it? How they reacted?
I don't know if I could say what I said to my team about it, to be honest with you. We didn't play well. We were disappointed with how we played. And obviously, when you're building pride in a program, that's not something that you want to represent you. So, we were not happy at all about last year's game. There was obviously a disconnect in our preparation, and and you give Hawaii credit. They played awfully well a year ago, and and we were obviously a little bit disjointed as a team at that point of the season, and so we got to be clicking on all cylinders. We have to understand the plan. We have to prepare to execute that plan. And then we have to have the courage and fortitude to take that plan to the field and play football. And so, those things have to come into fruition for you to play well and have success. So it's another challenge. We know this team that we're going to play against could care less about last year. And really last year really doesn't have anything to do with this game, particular game this week. So, but we have to understand and learn from things that have happened to us in the past, and that's something that we always try to learn from.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Cole Turner's really had a breakout year for you guys. What was the thinking behind moving him to tight end, and what do you think that's opened up for him as a player?
Well, Cole is kind of a classic tight end in the fact that, a lot of times those guys are big, tall guys and their body just continues to grow and mature. And, in this offseason, he's about 239 and he's just continued to grow as he's been in our program and been in the weight room. And his body has just matured to the point where he could play tight end. And so that was the biggest reason that we felt like he could make the move, is because he continued to grow and get bigger and stronger. And so we wanted to give him that opportunity. We just felt like he would be a tremendous weapon in the middle of the field. And, and we still use him outside like we did last week. And he's been fabulous. And he just continues to get better all the time. I think he's learning what a force he is as a blocker. He's so tall. He has such long arms and leverage that he really, he will be a tremendous blocker as he continues to improve and plays more games. And so I'm just so excited about him. When I was with the Raiders, I coached tight ends for 2 years and was a part of 2 drafts with Al Davis. And we actually took a tight end my first year there, a kid named Doug Jolly from BYU. And so I did so much study and research over the last 3 decades in the NFL draft about what makes a great tight end. And Cole Turner checks almost all the boxes. I mean, he's almost 6'7", he's 240 pounds. He runs great. He's physical. Al Davis would never draft a tight end unless he could run the 7 route. And the 7 route is off the route tree. That's a deep corner. And you have to have ability to run and eat up grass. And Cole can definitely run the 7 route. Al Davis would have loved him.
In the past, have you used your trips as more of educational trips? I mean, visiting Pearl Harbor, things like that. Is that a little bit different now because of the COVID thing? Or are you now just going to be more hotel bound and when you get out here? Or?
Yeah, there's some extra restrictions on this trip because it's going on during COVID. And so, yeah, there won't be much freedom for our kids to leave their rooms or the hotel at all. And so, which is unfortunate. But we have in the past at times, taken a few minutes to go see a local site. And obviously there's a lot to see in Hawaii, but we won't be doing that this trip.
Last year's game was probably Hawaii's best game of the year, and obviously probably your worst game of the year. How has your team gotten to the point where they are now from that point last year? Because I think you were 4-4 coming out of that game last year.
Well, I just think one of the things last year is, we were playing a freshman quarterback in Carson in his first year. We had some injuries, we had some instability and some youth at some positions. We're a little bit more mature now. We're a little bit more experienced now. And I think we're much more consistent as a team. We kind of went through some inconsistencies in the middle part of last year. And we finished stronger at the end of the year. But in the middle of the season, we were kind of trying to find ourselves. And, I think we have some more established players. Carson has kind of started playing at a high level. I think the emergence of our offensive line has just been such a big part of our success. We're playing more physical. We're playing with more identification of what we're doing. And we're playing as a unit better together. And I think that's probably the biggest progress that we've had in our program is the growth of our offensive line this season. And on the flip side of that, I think this last game particularly showed, the depth and the experience of our defensive line. The way our defensive line responded in the second half just shows the experience that we have, the ability to adjust, the ability to play with fundamentals in game against a good football team. I think I think that was probably the most impressive thing about our team was the play of our offensive and defensive line in a really good game versus a very quality opponent that is a very physical and well-coached team. And so, I'm proud of the way they performed. We know that we've got to continue. The challenges keep coming, and so, we turn the page and we're on to the next one now.
I wonder if you could tell me about Tim Chang, if you have a favorite Tim Chang story, and what's his role in your offense and how much has he contributed to it?
Oh, Timmy Chang is a fabulous coach, and he's a guy that has so much knowledge of the passing game and offensive football and quarterback play, and he's just been a tremendous asset to our program. Great recruiter, but even a better person than he is a football coach. I think there's not a player on our team that he hasn't impacted. Timmy does our scouting report every time we play Hawaii, so he kind of gives us some insight on the trip over there. And he also he's got a huge role on our staff in that he does a lot of our football education. And when I say that, looking at the defense, breaking them down, giving us tendencies, in-game tendencies about where we can make adjustments. And he does a fabulous job of that, and great insight. And, we're so excited. He did the scouting report today, and he had a little surprise at the end. He pulled out some picture of me from Iowa when I was like a freshman or something, and kind of pulling my leg a little bit. But he's always good for a laugh too, Timmy Chang, and great family. Love his kids and his wife, and he just makes an incredible impact. And just the fact that we have a guy that is one of the all-time leading passers in the history of college football, and his insight. Matt does a great job with our quarterbacks. Timmy does. I'm in there with them. We just have such a large group of guys and so many people with so many backgrounds that can add things as we go through the year. And it's just it's great to have him a part of our staff.
Graham had talked about trying to get Timmy Chang to come over when he get the job. Did he talk to you about that, or did you think you might lose Timmy?
No, we had a few anxious moments when Coach Graham took over, and it's only obviously, that anybody that takes that program over, if Timmy Chang is available, that you would want to visit with him about that. And I just did not want to lose him. I just thought he's so valuable to our program, and I'm very, very happy that we've been able to keep him.
Thank you.
Yes.
Came pretty close to catastrophe there at the end on Saturday, and you take the Wyoming game, a close win. It could easily be a 3-2 season. I wonder how these kind of nail biters keep you sharp or maybe on your toes, or how different that is than maybe just blowing teams out.
No, I don't know. I mean, we prepare for 4-quarter games every week, and we never overlook anybody or think any game is going to be an easy game. And I was sick on Saturday night. I'm gonna be honest. I was when you play a close game like that, there's so many decisions that have to be made during the game, and I kind of put Carson in a tough position at the end, throwing that last ball. I had 3 really tough decisions in that game. One was to go for it on 4th down on short yardage, and when we made it, and then we scored on the next play to Romeo. The other one was the field goal. The field goal was really a tough decision because we were about on the 34-yard line. And that's kind of that in-between area where you may punt it, you may kick a field goal. But I just had so much confidence in Talton. I feel like he's the best kicker in our league, and he makes that kick a lot of the time. And I just felt like if he can make it, the game's over with, And then at the end there, to throw the football, I just had confidence in Carson. I had confidence in Romeo. In hindsight, maybe we should have just played conservative. But it's part of the game. Our defense was amazing on that series. They were amazing the whole second half, and the sequence there at the end, really the third down play. They kind of had a little pick play and they picked us, and they had a receiver running right wide open to the pylon. But one of the things we preached was with our D line was to contain the quarterback and just get your hands in his face. You may not have to sack him, but as long as you can keep him in the pocket and disrupt the throw, you can really affect the play. And that's exactly what Cam Toomer did. He kept contained. He got his hands up. He just altered the throw slightly to where it was incomplete. And that's football. That's the game. And that's why you play the game. And, we've been on the wrong side of that ledger, but not this time.
The offense you're running now, is that how you'd always envisioned when you were putting this together? Or is it or are you still matching the great development of your players? Are the players still dictating it, or?
No, this is what we've envisioned, and we wanted to develop a strong passing game and add situational run to it. And I've coached at a lot of different levels and a lot of different programs, but I just believe it's so much easier to teach a passing game and have your kids understand how to throw the football than to do it the other way around. And, I think probably the worst feeling in the world is to go to a football game and know your team can't pass. I just don't think I ever want to be a part of that. And so, I just wanted to build a strong passing game. I wanted a quarterback that could change plays and adjust the field. When I was in pro football, I coached with the Indianapolis Colts for 4 years, and with Peyton Manning, and Tom Moore was our coordinator. And Tom just gave the quarterback a lot of latitude. He allowed him to audible. He allowed him to change routes. And I just think that's the best way to play. I really do. And Carson's at the point now where he's been in our system. He understands it. We give him freedom to check plays. We give him freedom to adjust to defenses. He has the freedom to adjust routes. I just think that he's the last guy with the ball in his hands. He can see and adjust the defense. And he's getting to the point where he's getting pretty good at it. So, excuse me.
It also seems like Tao's really adjusted. I'm sorry. Oh, it also seems like Tao's really bought into this thing too, right? It seems like does great that no one felt slighted by the sort of move to a passing game.
Excuse me on that. Toa Tao has been fabulous, just unselfish and team player. And he's got a ton of touches as a receiver in our offense, and so we'll continue to utilize him, and we run him with Wildcat, and we'll make sure that he gets his touches and he can really be a factor in each game as well.
Got time for one or two more?
Going back to Timmy Chang and the report that he gives you, you talked about how he kind of specializes with Hawaii things. Does he tell you folks where to eat? And what if you just give me a few ideas of how he inserts his personality and his insight into that report?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He knows all the spots, and we won't be leaving the hotel on this trip. But he just has a great insight on what it's like to go play over there. And a lot of mistakes that opponents make when they come over there and play. And so, that experience and his insights on that has really, really been helpful in us in playing them. And so really, really smart man, tremendous character, and just really impacted our team, not only his players, but our entire football team.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that memory you shared on Twitter of this day 35 years ago at Iowa. I just wonder, as you guys are now kind of in the driver's seat of creating that own memory for this squad, how much that motivates you and just how aware you guys are of this opportunity at hand, I suppose.
Well, we've been very motivated. for a long time. And, but we knew we were going to have a good football team this year. And really the goal is to play as well as you possibly can. And that's what we constantly strive for. Each player has potential to do certain things, and it's our job as coaches to prepare them the best we can so those players can reach their potential. I also think we have a collective potential as a program. And we've made no bones about it. We want to win championships. That's, to me, it's not worth playing or preparing if you're not in it to win championships. And so we sacrifice a lot for that. We have high standards for everybody in the program, and we expect everybody to deliver their part of that. And I think it's a little bit different when you're an underdog. The way you prepare, the way you practice, the way you watch film, the way you get ready to play. But there's a different expectation when people expect you to win. And I think our kids are starting to understand that. And, there's an expectation of preparation and consistency. And that's what we want from our players and our coaches. And, we've been very demanding. I haven't been very happy on any of these Mondays. I've tried to show our team how we can be better and how we can prepare better and how we can play better together. And so we'll just continue to push them. We only have a few weeks left, and it's really a small window in your life, to sacrifice and do the things you need to do to give yourself a chance to win and have a special memory. So I've said this before. I really think that the team that wins this year's championship is a special champion, with all the adversity that everybody has to go through, that everybody's program has to go through, with all the adversity that we've had with this virus. I just think that the champion this year is going to be a special team. And so we have a chance. We're in the hunt, and it's a playoff mentality. We're concerned about is preparing and being our very best this week.